Hi, Stamper fans. Welcome to another Make It Monday. I am so glad you're joining me, whether you're watching live on Facebook or if you're catching the replay here or on YouTube. I am so happy that you've decided to take your time with me. Quick note that Facebook is changing their policy, or they did change it this past week, that after 30 days, live videos will be deleted. So if you like to go back through my previous content, you might want to make sure that you're following me over on YouTube. If you just search Stamper Nan, you will find me there. You can also go to stampernan.com, and all of my links are there as well. So just don't want you to miss anything. So I am Nan Gerlitz, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Bloomington, Illinois, and I am here to help you connect with your people, whether that's gathering together to craft or you making handmade items to share with them. It's all about making and deepening those connections. So let's get to it. All right, first up, as always, it is results of Friday night stamping. So for those of you unfamiliar, my husband and I come down to the studio every Friday night and we each make a card. I throw it out on the Facebook page and on Instagram, and we have you all vote for your favorites. And this week, for the fourth week in a row, the Stamper Man has bested me. He's a very good stamper. But this beautiful card, absolutely love the coloring on the birds, and I love this paper. This is the Winterly Treetops bundle and paper, which I will be using coincidentally tonight for something different. So on a roll, baby. Yeah, you are. So yeah, I guess I better get my butt in gear this Friday and teach him that it's not all by him. So some of you did comment on the tree that I had done, and I just wanted to point out that this was just a square of white cardstock, and I just colored on it randomly with our Stampin' Right markers in different colors, and then I ran it through our die cut for the Frosted Forest. So that's how I got that cool effect. So you too can have a cool effect. So, all right. Quick mention before we move on too far. Celebration ends this Friday, the 28th of February. So if you have not gotten everything you wanted from the celebration freebies, I would urge you to hit the shopping link in my video description and head on over there. For every $60 you purchase, you get to pick out a freebie from either this brochure or there's some extras. Everything's in one spot online, so it's really, really easy to see. I have featured some of the freebies on some of my lives as well as my Facebook page and Instagram. So you've seen some things over the weeks, and it's not too late. I know I've got one more order to put in this week, so not too late, but Friday is the deadline. And if you don't get it by then, you'll be having FOMO. So, all right. Well, it is Funfold week here in the studio. And do you remember this cool Valentine that I shared with you guys a couple of weeks ago? We are going to make this Hexagon. I can't remember what it's called. Hexagon floating Funfold, I believe, because this little guy looks like it's floating. Very cool. I love the way it stands up too. Great on a mantle. Hello, hello, Penny. Just in time. So we are going to be making this, but a different version because it's past Valentine's Day and I don't have any of that product. We made that at one of the demonstrator meetings that I go to. So very, very fun. So let's see. Where am I? I also, after we're done with tonight's version live, I have a second version to show you. So make sure you stick around till the end of the video. And we are starting with thick white paper for the base and the bridge pieces, the banners. So I've got a little cheat sheet here. Let's see if I can get it all in the shot. I might have to come up a little bit. There we go. All right, I'm going to leave that there for a minute so you all can take a screenshot, and then you can zoom in and find all the fun little pieces. So the green spots are the cardstock for the base. After that, all the decorating is kind of up to you. So it's very much whatever you want. I did put the designer paper measurements up here for all the decorating, so you know. So when you have that screenshot, then you can decide on which papers and whatnot you're using. All right, let's bring this down a little bit again. All right, little fun geek fact. I do keep a level in my top drawer, so I make sure that my camera is level every week. Because if you like have something at an angle, it distorts the view, right? So I try to look out for you. Okay, so I need that cheat sheet back. So we are starting with that thick white card base. You could probably do this with colored cardstock as well. I just like featuring the designer paper. So it's nice to just have a clean white slate, right? So we are going to score. This one is 5.5 by 4 1/8. And we are going to score it 3¼ inches from each side. Geek pride, that's right. So one of the things I will point out that I do love about our trimmer is that it has measurements on the right side of the cut and on the left side, or if you use it upside down, whatever. It has measurements on both sides. So, hi, Joan. Hey, Betty. Oh, yeah. I did. I was not robbed, Betty. It's quite all right. They were both really good, and I figured it'd be close, and it was. I got plenty of good votes. So, but yes, I was saying with our trimmer, I like that it has the measurements over here, because when you're doing a small score, like 3/4 inch, if I tried to do it on this side, being right-handed, like my hand would be in the way when I was trying to lower that arm. So I can do it from this side instead and go up to that 3/4 inch mark, give it a good score, and then I'll just flip it around and do that same thing. So it is 3/4 inch from each edge for your base. I'm not even going to bring my bone folder out. I'm just going to fold that so I know that's the inside. Okay. And then we've got these two strips. We can call them the banner pieces or the bridges, because they do kind of bridge the whole thing together. And these are 5 3/4 inches by 1 1/4 inch. And these are going to get 4 scores each. 4 score and 7 years ago. So this is going to start with 3/4 inch. And now I have to flip it around. So it's like 3/4 inch. And now I'm going to go to 2 inches. And now I'm going to go to 3 3/4 and 5. And if you notice, that is 3/4 and 2 inches from that side and 3/4 and 2 inches from this side. So if you like to just remember two things and flip it around, you can do that. Again, I'm not going to worry about my bone folder. I just want to get those folds in there. Okay, so 3/4 inch. And then I will flip it around and do 2, 3 3/4, and 5. Now, if you're thinking enough ahead of time, what you could do is cut this to 5 3/4 by 2 1/2, do all your scores once, and then just slice it in half. Whichever way. If I were doing a bunch of these, that is exactly how I would do it to limit my time. So when when it's like Christmas card time, or if I'm making swaps for an event or something, usually I'll make a sample up and okay, this is how it's going to be. And then I'll figure out, how can I make this most efficient? I'll score my cardstock before I cut it in half. And now I've got both of my card bases already scored, with only one score. So those types of things. But if I'm just making one, I'm just doing it the way it's going. So hope I didn't confuse anybody with all of that gibberish. As always, there is a supply link for all of the supplies used tonight in the video description. Everything's available on my online store, so you're all good. All right, so we've scored and folded our cardstock. I have pre-cut everything so that you don't have to watch me cut all the stuff and die cut and all those kinds of things. So we've got the pretty Nests of Winter designer series paper, which is the same thing that the Stamper Man used. I'm just using different designs. And for this one, we are cutting. So for the inside, it's you've got a 5 1/4 piece by 2 1/2. That's the middle one. And then you want 2 pieces that are 5 1/4 by 1/2. That's these side pieces. So what I did was I actually cut the whole thing to the 5 1/4 and what I needed, and then I cut each edge. And because I wanted that continuous look, right? Like a triptych art piece. All right. So we can go ahead and attach this to the middle of the back. Oh, this one wasn't sitting upside down. There it goes. The one that's been sitting upside down in my little holder ran out of glue, so I had to get a new one out. Okay, so that one's going to go in there, and this is why I have kind of folded up my scores, because I want to be able, it's hard to see score lines white on white, right? So if I fold them a little bit, then I can see where those edges are and center it a little better. Oh, thanks, Penny. I try to give you guys some good tips, you know? And then we'll take each of these. I do like to do my middle one first. I feel like it is easier to line up the side pieces. I think I've got a clog here. There we go. Like, it shouldn't be this difficult to get this glue out. There we go. So now I can just line up my top and bottom at the same point as that middle piece. And then you can see how I cut, I'm sorry, Birdie, I cut your tail off. But so that design continues. So if you have a design like that where it's continuing, it's kind of nice to cut the big piece first and then cut the edges off, the sides off. So you still have that continuous design. It's a nice look. If you have a random design, which is what I have for the front, it doesn't matter. So for the front, I grabbed this cool little kind of bubbled coastal cabana, super pretty. So for that, you need 2 that are 1 inch by 1 1/2, right? Yeah. And 4 of them that are 1 inch square. So I didn't bother trying to make this a continuous pattern because it's a pretty random pattern anyway. And for this one, you've got your 2 little side pieces, you've got your next one, and then you've got your larger centerpiece. So that larger centerpiece is going to get this longer one. So we'll do that first. And I do use my liquid glue for this because I want that little bit of wiggle room so I can get it centered how I like it, right? We'll just do both of those centers right away. Oh, pretty bird. I do love this paper. The colors are just gorgeous. And I would imagine it'll probably be ending up on the last chance products list pretty soon. So if you also love this paper, I would encourage you to grab some of it. All right, and then we've got our little 1 inch pieces. And these are just squares, so it doesn't really matter which direction I go, but I will line those top and bottom up with these. So this past weekend, we got a treat. We had the grandboys come and visit with their mom, which was nice because I don't get enough time with my daughter, I'll tell you that. I already don't get enough time with the grandboys, but when they come and spend the night, it's always nice when Kylie and Dan both can come with them. We usually have a game night after the boys go to bed. But unfortunately, the stamper man was not feeling that great, and neither was Uncle Cooper. So it was just Kylie and I watching some good TV and having some laughs and talking, which was also very nice. But we had a very good visit. We haven't seen them in, gosh, I think a little over a month. So, okay. So there is our, right? Yes. Okay. Just trying to make sure I've got everything going on here. Okay. So we are going to attach these bridges. We can go ahead and do that now. It is important to, we'll grab our Valentine. You want to attach the bridges before you put these pieces on, because these pieces, as you can see, kind of hide all the joining. They give you a more cohesive look, right? Prettier. Oh, she doesn't mind being second fiddle because, you know, I think she's second fiddle. She loves her kids so much. They're so adorable. Okay, so on these bridge pieces, these little tabs on the end are what you're going to use to attach. So you're going to flip them over to the back side, and you're going to use some tear and tape. You could probably use liquid glue as well, but I have only done tear and tape. I do recommend that because it's going to have some tension on it trying to pull away from the other cardstock. So you do want a strong adhesive. I mean, it is, you know, Kylie's very cute, but it's pretty hard to compete with the little ones. They are just so adorable. And Harrison he's almost 2.5 now, and he's super chatty and pretty opinionated. But he's such a good boy. And I will say, when he does cry, because he does that a little more often now that, you know, he's having trouble being 2 some days, and he really loves a hug when he's crying. So that's nice. All right. Whenever I use tear and tape, I give it a good burnish. You can use your bone folder or you can use your fingernail, whatever you want. But that just, I feel like it gets the adhesive very well attached, and it's easier to pull the strips off. So then I usually use my take your pick tool, and it doesn't matter how long my nails are. So I'm going to pull all of those backing tapes off. And you could probably just use one little strip of tear and tape, but I figured I would just cover that whole little tab. So you can start at the top. You're going to turn this over and just get that even with the top. Boom. Okay. And then we're going to come around to the other side and the same thing. Bless you. Stamper man just sneezed. So that's our bridge for the top. And we're going to repeat the same thing with the bottom. This is really a super, super easy card to make. You're welcome. As long as you have the measurements. And I feel like I'm also going to try to modify it. So maybe I can have a landscape card or something like that. And I'll see if I can figure out measurements for that. Once you have the mechanism down, then it's just a matter of trying to figure out measurements for, you know, adapting it. Okay, so there we have our bridge pieces. Very nice. We got our little tunnel. Okay, so now let's do the back of the card. And then we will get the little floater piece in order. So for the back of the card, and I think it's a good idea because of these layers of cardstock you've got here, we're actually going to layer up our designer paper with some regular cardstock. So I've used the gray granite because that's the predominant color in this designer paper. So it's a nice neutral. It's actually one of those that when it first came out, I was like, who's ever going to use that? And it's really a pretty gray. It's a really good neutral. And I do use it a lot when I'm using designer papers with it in it. So, and these little back strips are 5 1/8 by 1/2 inch for the designer paper. And then the cardstock pieces are 5 1/4 by 5/8. Okay. I am just having liquid glue trouble tonight, which is weird for me. There we go. We have one of the women at our Stampin' group. She's always like a sticky mess. She makes fun of herself about it. It's pretty funny. So like it happens, you know. Might just be a Monday. Yep, I got it. Thank you. All right, I fixed that setting before we started. All right, are you everybody back with me? So sorry about that. Okay, so what I was saying is you want to make sure to stamp everything before you assemble, right? So this is the only stamping we're going to have. Good. This is the only stamping we're going to have on this one, but even if it were a flat card and, you know, no problem, then if you stamp before you assemble, if you make a mistake, you can just flip your cardstock over. But if you've already assembled, that's very hard to do. And I think we've all made mistakes when we're stamping. So doesn't matter if you've been doing this for 2 months or 2 years or 20 years. So I'm going to use a little from my Winterly Treetops. We're going to use the Thinking of You Always. That's a good one, right? I love a nice kind of generic greeting. Doggone phone. I don't know how to keep that from happening because I did change the setting before I went live tonight because I remembered. But I'm going to have to find another setting, obviously. Silly, silly technology. All right. A little gray granite ink. And we'll just put that a little base down. Thank goodness for the stamper man coming to the door to tell me that I was frozen because I was just chattering away, not paying attention. Okay. So that is literally all the stamping we're doing tonight. Oops. Okay, so now we can go ahead and attach these 2 layers. So this middle inside piece, let's see, I don't have it written down, is 5 inches by 2 1/4. And these measurements will also be in my newsletter this week. So if you didn't catch them and you don't want to go ahead and watch the entire video again, you can always just wait till Wednesday morning when my newsletter comes out. And if you don't subscribe already, there is a link handy dandy in the description for you to subscribe to that. And then the gray granite piece is just a 1/4 inch bigger. So it's 5 1/4 by 2 1/2. And that'll go right in the middle of the back. So this is the nice spot for you to, you know, write your little message. And this is one of those great cards for if you don't, if you like never know what to say, or if you're sending a card to somebody that you don't know very well, so there's just not a lot to say. This is a good one because it doesn't have a lot of room. Oh, good, Penny. I'm so glad. Yeah, I figured that's a really nice way to just pop those in my newsletter, and then everybody has the measurements all handy. All righty. Okay, so now we need our floating part. And what I have done for our little floating part is out of my Nests of Winter designer paper, I have die cut these birds because the die cuts here will cut those birds out. In fact, that die cut will cut those birds out. So I love it when things coordinate. Stampin' Up! Does that so well. So we've got our cute little birdies, which is how I figured out all the color scheme to this, right? And we have a little window sheet. And this little piece of window sheet is 4 inches by 1 3/4 inches. And we're going to get our tear and tape out again. Now, I will say you could probably use regular Stampin' Seal. You maybe could use the liquid glue, but liquid glue on window sheets doesn't dry as quickly, so you have to hold it in place, and it's obviously a little slippery, so I recommend one of the other tapes instead of your liquid glue for this. Grab our little take your pick tool and peel that off. Okay, and so now this, if you notice, is just a little bit bigger, longer than the opening. So you want to just tuck this right underneath, and then this guy can just tuck right underneath this end. And there is your little floating mechanism. It's hard to catch on camera. And so now, just as I said, it's hard. If you want to put liquid glue on this, you certainly could, but I am going to opt for a little bit of Stampin' Seal. So I'm going to put this upside down on here though, because I only want Stampin' Seal where the window sheet is, and I don't want to go over those edges. So I wanted to have a good guideline. And there we go. Super, super cute little floating birds, right? Absolutely love it. And I will tell you, when we made this at the meeting, it was a little hectic. Everybody tends to be very chattery because it's like the only time of the month we get to see each other. So, you know, there's a lot of conversation going around. There's supplies being passed around. So it was a little hectic. Thank you. But she also gave us a sheet with all the measurements and everything. So that made it a lot easier to recreate once I got home. So I do have another sample for you. And this one is using the Friendly Fins bundle. So super fun little flying dolphin. And I want to point out that this reef, thanks, Joan. This coral reef here is not attached except for in the middle on that window sheet, because I didn't want it when you fold it flat and then it pops out. I didn't want those things to be folded. So everything is literally just attached to the window sheet. So it's literally floating. And then on the back, we've got a little make a splash and a little lobster in a shell, because I got a little crazy. There's a lot of fun dies in that bundle, let me tell you. So super, super fun there. Yeah, so there's my 2 samples for you, and measurements for everything, as I said, will be in my newsletter this Wednesday. So you don't have to worry about going back and catching all those, but I also gave you that screenshot at the beginning. So hopefully you all caught what you needed to out of there. And I'll give you a little secret too. You know the photopolymer stamps, the backing that they come on? That's what I used here. And so you can kind of save those for your window sheets. Thanks, Joan. Thanks, Penny. Super, super fun. So I want to cover one last thing before I let you go, because it is, where did I put it? There it is. It is coming on the end of February here, and next month, Stampin' Up! Is going to let demonstrators have a sneak peek at the new catalog coming out, and we're also going to get a sneak peek of like the new in colors, which means we will be losing some in colors soon. And the ones we're going to be losing are the 2023 through 2025 in colors. So those are the Pebbled Path, Moody Mauve, Boho Blue, Wild Wheat, and Copper Clay, which is one of my favorites, I will say. So those are all going to be going away soon. And what happens is when the last chance stuff gets updated, which will probably be in March, I believe, I will pop up here and talk to you now. When that list gets updated, those in colors tend to go pretty quickly. Now, they may stick around. You never know what's going to happen. I have no guarantees, but usually the refills, the ink refills go really fast. Sometimes the ink pads go really fast and the cardstock go really fast, maybe the blends or the markers. So especially those kinds of things tend to sell out pretty quickly. And so I want to give you a heads up now, because we know those are going away, and every product that has any of those colors in it are going to be going away. So you know right now that, hey, I might as well grab those now if I want them, right? So if you have any of those ink pads, you don't have the refills yet, I would urge you to get the refills, because once those are gone, I can't get them for you anymore. But I will tell you too, if you go to my online store, you can click on the menu, then click on Shop By, Color, and then click the In Colors 2023 to 2025 and click Shop All. It will literally show you every product that has any of those colors in it. Show you embellishments. It'll show you designer papers, ribbons, inks, markers, everything that has those colors. So if you love Moody Mauve, you can grab everything that has Moody Mauve in it. If you just don't think you can live without Copper Clay, and I know I'm going to be able to, because I've been able to live without every color that's gone away. But that's a pretty one. Yeah, I can literally go there right now and find every product that we carry that has Copper Clay in it, that has any of these 5 colors in it. So you can go ahead and search and see what you need to get in your craft stash before it's all gone. So once again, you go to the menu, you go to Shop By. Here, we'll do this. Go to Menu, then Shop By, Color, In Colors 2023 to 25, and then there's a little link at the top of that menu that says Shop All. And when you do that, it'll show you every product with those colors in it. It's a nice little hack that you can know. So especially this time of year when the in colors are going to start going away, that's a really good little tip to know, so you can shop by that. But also the rest of the time, like let's say you're doing wedding invitations or a bridal shower thing or something like that, and you know you want a certain color that we carry, you can go shop by color and find all the things that are in that color. So it's a nice little hack for our website. All right, so that I think is all I have for you tonight. Thank you so much for joining me. Here is your reminder that if you picked up a tip or got some inspiration, please share this video or tag your peeps so that they can learn a thing or two as well. And remember that Facebook is going to start deleting these live videos after 30 days. So make sure you're following me on YouTube so you don't lose your access to all of my previous videos. All righty. All right. Have a great rest of your evening or your day, Joan. And until next time, I'm still Nan Gerlitz. Happy stamping.